Greetings. Welcome back to Social Perspective. Today we have Taji, Erica, Kelly, myself, Sharice, and we're going to be getting into some new and interesting topics. We've been talking a lot about relationships, but we thought we would switch it up today and get into that single life, especially after 40. Guys, what's it looking like out there? I know the times have changed. I know the way that people meet, the way we communicate has changed. Let us know what it's like.
It's ghetto as fuck in the streets.
It's ghetto.
Ghetto is accurate.
Yeah.
This is different. It's a different, I mean, for myself personally, and just having come out of a situation a couple years ago, like it's a different ball game for sure. It's, I think with social media particularly, there's this level of accessibility to you as a person and for people to you and vice versa. And I feel like it just really kind of muddies the waters. Like it's really hard to really tell like who is who, what, like it takes time. It's, you know, and I think even just coming out of the COVID era too, it's like you're not meeting people as much as you had been in person. Like it's just things have kind of shifted since. I think I'm in a good space. Like I don't have no complaints about where I am, but it is ghetto as fuck. Like that's the best way I could put it. I mean, I just take it in stride one day at a time. Like I don't have a lot of pressure on myself about, oh, I got to be in a relationship, I got to do X, Y, Z. I'm just rolling day by day, and it's easy for me right now. Like
Yeah,
I don't have no complaints about, you know, where I'm at,
I get
but
that.
it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be single than be in a bullshit relationship.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? That's half-assing it. Like, I'm good. I could do better by myself if that's the case.
Always.
Are you dating within a range, an age range? Or are you dating specifically an age range?
No, not a specific age range. I mean, obviously, I would like to have someone up in my level of maturity who's obviously older and whatever. But what I have found is that even people that are a little older, you would expect them to have maturity, and they don't. So, and the worst part about it is that I attract much younger guys. Like they'll be like 35, 30, 38 and be like, hey, you know, let me take you to dinner. I'd be like, what? I mean, what can you give me besides smash your ass and send you home?
You know,
You got a
What?
youthful spirit though.
yeah,
What? I mean,
you don't,
that-
and you don't look your.
And you don't look your age.
okay,
right?
but
What's wrong with 35? What are they not? How are they
girl,
not? showing
I'm
up?
56.
But you're saying what
hell?
else? What else can they give you? Are we not? Are there 35-year-olds not doing their thing in the streets? Like
Oh, they're doing their thing in the streets.
in the career streets. In the career streets.
That's the problem. No, not saying career-wise that they're not doing anything. It's just mentally, and not just mentally, but where they are in their life. Like, I don't want any more kids. My son is grown. You know, so
That makes a little more sense when you're saying that.
Yeah.
I can see that being a big thing.
Yeah.
Is if they're 35, no kids,
Yeah.
they're looking for
even
something a little
career-wise,
different.
guys
Yeah.
in their 30s are in a different place financially. Usually, career-wise, usually, like they might just be. Like the guys my age over 40, 45 plus, they're working on retirement. They're thinking about retirement and traveling the world. The guys that are younger in their early 30s or mid 30s or their kids are like in elementary school and they're not anywhere near that time where we are
Yeah.
in life.
and I'm good on that.
You know, they've only been through so much at that point in their life.
Yeah,
I am not the same woman at 46 as I was at 36.
For sure.
I feel like we're closer to who we're going to be as soon as we get into our 40s, and we don't really find that with people in their 30s quite yet. I mean, there's going to be an anomaly here and there, but the ones that I have found, I'm on a dating app where my age range, I was just telling you this, I set it at 40 to 50 or 40 to 55. I had to change it to 35 because these guys that are plus 40, present company excluded, a lot of them are bitterly divorced and they hate women. Like there's just this pocket of guys that I have met and they all like first date, they talk about everything that went wrong in their marriage. So this is one of the things you find in this age group that you don't necessarily find in the 30s and especially the 20s. So for me, that's like one of the biggest difference where you are in life as far as 40s.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like obviously like we've pretty much discussed, it's not a the age doesn't matter so much as it does the maturity and the level of where they're at in life and what they want for their life. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I can't, relate to somebody who's trying to do all the things that I've kind of already done. I'm like, but so that I would be going backwards. Why would I do that? But I think it's interesting that you say that because I meet women and some of them are also in a bitter space. They may be divorced or they're just on this, oh, men ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. And you're just kind of like, yo, I can't be in a situation where I'm trying to, it's kind of like the texting conversation we had a little bit earlier. Some people's minds go to the negative first, right? And if their first mind goes to the negative, it's going to take all this work just to get them to the middle. I'm like, yo, I'm not doing that. Like, I need somebody who's in a space where they're in the middle or they go to the right and they think positively, because there's less work for me to have to do to get them in a space where the energy is comparable, like the things that we want are comparable. But it's definitely an interesting playing field out there right now.
Let's be clear though, just because they're older doesn't mean
Mature.
they matured.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
or
but it
they're
sounded
ready.
like 40
or
to 55 was looking
Well,
better.
there wasn't as many selection because their men are, that age group, either they've never been married or they're just coming out of a marriage typically. So, and we also talked about how people assume that people that are over 40, especially over 40 with no kids, something must be wrong with them if they don't have a wife and they don't have kids. It's just decisions that some of us have made that have led us to this point. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong. Doesn't mean I don't want marriage, anything like that. It doesn't automatically mean. Let me just say this. There are so many people I know that are unhappily married. And I look at my life and how peaceful things are for me. I don't envy that. Would I love a beautiful relationship? Of course. Do I have to be married? Absolutely not. For me personally, I don't think marriage equates happiness. So could I be married right now? Absolutely. Could I have children right now? Absolutely. Does that mean I'm going to be happy? No. So I'm going to do what I need to do to make me happy. So people who judge me for not being married and having children at this age, you can suck it for a lot longer.
Let's touch on the children thing a little bit, because you said you didn't want a man that was running around with elementary school age
Listen,
children.
I'm not necessarily ruling it out. I mean,
Okay.
the older you get, your criteria and what you think you want, your list or whatever, you start marking things off like, okay, that's not as important now. That's not, what I'm
Let's
saying?
hear some of
Right.
your lists, Kelly.
No, for sure.
Well,
for sure.
let's hear some of the lists.
Well, like that, like children. Like at first I was like, ugh, and I'm still a little, ugh.
But we're not going to.
But it's just-
our age that doesn't have children. It's
Well,
very
right.
rare.
But if that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If,
So they're
if-
in the middle.
so-
They're in the maybe.
Yeah, but I would if they're older, their children,
If
their
they had
children,
5 things,
their children are probably at least high school or older. You know what I'm saying? Which is perfect. I'm not trying to be stepmommy to a 5-year-old or
I
a
am,
6-year-old.
actually.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I was
I'm not
gonna
because you don't have kids.
Yeah.
I'm done with
That's
that.
why I didn't
I'm done with
have
that. I've got grandbabies actually,
Yeah.
and I fully enjoy that. But I send them home. When fill them up with love and sugar,
you would
and
potentially send them home in this situation, because
I
it'd be
mean-
like a co-parent. Like
not if
they're-
it's serious. What if he has full custody? Like
right. That's what I'm saying. There's a potential.
Like I
that
said,
they're
I'm not
split.
ruling out, because let me tell you what, the right man will make you adjust to any situation.
Which takes
For
me
me.
back to your list.
For me.
What's your
For
list
me.
look like? Because these people are dating and they're looking, and so what is your list? What's your 5? Ask.
You have to be humorous. I need you to have a sense of humor, because I do. I'm a funny motherfucker. You need to match my fly.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It is what it is. So someone who can make me laugh. I mean, obviously they don't have to necessarily be physically attractive, but I need to be attracted to them in some way. Now, a man that has great hygiene and can dress and smells good all the time doesn't have to be
Coached.
beautiful and handsome and whatever, because that's going to attract me. And if your personality goes with it, it's like, oof. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily the physical appearance, but it's everything that comes along with it. If you are constantly, lifting me up, fulfilling me emotionally when we hang out, and we're like, ooh, okay, I'm going to take note to that, because a lot of men don't. They don't know how to do that. My last relationship, ended because he was emotionally unavailable for the most part.
Can I ask what his age
There was a lot of things going on, but that was the main thing for me.
Can I ask how old he was?
48.
Okay.
I
So
think we've, not to cut into this list, but I think we had that conversation on a previous episode, just talking about vulnerability and just emotional connectivity for males. And us as women having to have an understanding that this society has not been set up to foster that. And they're just now getting there. Like I'm seeing a lot of podcasts and I'm seeing a lot of men of color like come and talk about their emotional needs
yes,
and how
I have to.
they haven't
Yep.
been, so we're just scratching the surface of that. So I think that as much as we need that as women, that's what we have girlfriends for, and we need to give these men some time to catch up there because it's going to take some like unveiling and they're really going to be humbled. And that's not going to be a cute process because it's not for anybody, so that they can get in touch with that and then learn how we're asking them to show up. Not that they ever can, because men and women are just different in that way. Yeah. But I feel like I hear that with a lot of single women. It's kind of the emotional, like, I don't feel like that's being met. And just as a person in a relationship, I don't think I place that heavy emphasis on my husband. I lean on my girlfriends for that, for the emotional support. I have a beautiful tribe of women around me that can fulfill that, because I can't expect him to be every single thing I need at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I internalize a lot. I have a few great girlfriends, but very seldom do I go to them and say, "Hey, I'm feeling like this." Or, I mean, we talk candidly, but real slight.
Surface
Yes,
level.
yeah. We don't, about men and or dates that we've been on or whatever. Things that are funny or like, "Oh no, that was terrible," whatever. But very rarely do we dig into ourselves with each other. It's just, I don't
So
know
what
why
if that
is.
male, so instead of having like being capable of that emotional, he was aware that he was not there yet. Like, I'm aware that I don't know how to meet your emotional needs, but I'm
That's
open
fine.
to learning, but you're going to have to be patient because I don't really
It would have been
haven't been taught
amazing
that
if he could have
behavior.
said that to me, but he didn't.
So communication is a big thing for you. too.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's everything for me.
So that'd be
It's
number
everything
one on your list?
because because I'm a big communicator. I will express how I feel. I'm not afraid to tell you. My problem is if I am telling you how I feel about something maybe you said or that you didn't do or that you didn't say or whether it's pro or con of the situation, if I'm telling you that it made me feel a certain way and you don't change the behavior, you're obviously telling me that, number one, I'm not a priority. It doesn't matter to you, or you're not receiving the information well. And if you get defensive and I become the problem for expressing myself to you, then
Yeah.
he's just
I've been in a situation
exactly.
like that before.
It's like
where
I'm good on that. I'm
you
good on that.
express yourself, but they play the victim role.
And then you're the bad guy.
Like, you're attacking me.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, that's not what this is.
I'm
Like,
trying to express, I'm trying to
Right.
tell you that I'm not happy with the certain situation as it is. Like, can we make it better? And when I say that to you and you do the same shit or even pull back even further, then that leaves me no choice but to just be like, okay, this isn't for me.
Communication is becoming a lost art. And I think that goes back to what you guys are saying about the dating apps and social media, because in the comments that you're saying that people make where you can just have a one-sided expression of emotion and you don't expect for anything to come back from that. I just want to be able to say what I want to say and that be it. And I get to put my words out there and I just want it to be received. Because
No, I want to listen
it's
to
really
the other side too.
deteriorating.
I need feedback. I want feedback, like genuine correspondence.
Well, I mean, I think that's the main thing about what constructive criticism is, right? In any capacity, it's like, okay, you give me this criticism, but it's constructive and it's healthy, and you do something with that to improve upon it.
But people don't know how to comprehend the word constructive.
Correct.
Yes,
They'll take it as
have
an
this
attack.
issue. I'm a highly defensive person. I've had to lean into. I've had to research it. I've talked to a therapist about. I've had to dig into where this comes from, because I feel like something's being attacked. It's hard for me to sometimes hear the pain that the other person is trying to express without seeing
Being
it as an
defensive.
attack on my
Do you
identity.
think that's like
sure.
a trauma response?
You know what?
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten to there to see, like, where does this messaging come from? Why do I feel that way? And this is something that my husband would try to express for years. And it took me so much time to see. And I was like, I want to hear him because there's something there, right?
But I commend you for having the accountability and even acknowledging that that's an
Absolutely.
issue for yourself.
Yeah. Well, it was
That's amazing.
It took time.
You know how
and it
many
was
people
tough.
cannot do that?
Yeah.
Like,
Most people can't do that.
yeah, right.
Most people.
right.
I
And
really
that's-
couldn't. I couldn't even. And I was puzzled because I'm like, man, what is he saying? Like, what is he trying to say? But it really took going down this path of not that I'm healed from it, but of healing and looking and seeing where it was coming from and how I could, while he's trying to express himself, remove that defensiveness and say, there is a pain or something that's like bothering him that he's trying to express. How can I like see that, the humanness of that, instead of just being prepared to be like, no, no.
Right. You were listening to give a response instead of
To
listening
defend
to hear.
myself and be
Yeah,
like,
so
I'm
listen.
not
We'll
hurting
listen
you.
just
I'm
to
not a
have
problem.
response
Right.
and not
Right.
listen to actually hear.
To hear
Facts.
and be like, hey, this man that I love is telling me that something is bothering him, and I'm just trying to tell him how it shouldn't,
Right.
Yeah.
as opposed to like, wow,
Listen, yeah.
okay, I hear that. I don't necessarily understand it or see it from my perspective. So I love the name of the show because
Yeah.
of that, because what him and I have realized is that sometimes we can't see that because it's just not our perspective. It's not our experience. We don't understand. I don't understand his trauma and how things that I'm doing were showing up for him. And then when he expresses them, all I hear is like, I'm doing something problematic. I'm doing something wrong. And I seek to defend that as opposed to being like, okay, how can we communicate in a way that even when you tell me, because there's work on his end too, and his delivery from his emotional response.
Sure.
To kind of make that adjustment so that we both can slow down and go, okay, what are we trying to hear here?
Right. Right.
And how could we adjust? Can we break habits that we have built over 30, 40, 50 years?
yeah.
So when you're saying, like, if I go to him and I say, hey, this bothers me, and he doesn't change immediately, I'm raising my hand and say, hey, it's taking me some time. And even after I learn my defensive behavior, I would tell my husband, like, I'm not going to get rid of this overnight. I need some time to adjust.
But when it's a broken record and you know you're talking to a brick wall and it's just not being received,
Yeah.
That's when
like
I shut down.
this
Yeah,
is
I've
this
been
is
there.
this
Shut
is
down.
one
I
thing.
don't waste my time.
Yeah, I start to shut down. But the thing of it is, I will say this. Now that I'm older, I have no time for bullshit and I have no time to waste on people who are not seeing my value. Like, I wasted so much time in relationships when I was younger on situations that I should have been out of, like way before, because you think, you know, it'll change, or, you know what?
They love you enough.
Yeah,
They'll fix it.
But here's the thing. Let me reel that back, because when I was younger and in certain relationships, I didn't even know what my own issues were. It wasn't until I started to grow and mature on my own, being single, that I looked within and in the mirror and had to really deal with some shit that, you know, I was having problems with unknowingly in my relationships. Things that were causing issues in my relationships I didn't even realize. I had to deal with that. And now that I have, and I'm older, that's why I'm saying I have no time to waste. The older I get, the less time I have.
Yeah.
So I'll be damned if I'm going to waste my time with someone who is not fulfilling me or isn't, you know,
Lighting
it
your
just,
fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh, no.
What are some
Yeah.
what are some questions that you guys, like, how do you screen in the beginning? Like, aren't there some questions you could present, like, where are you on your healing journey?
Who's
trauma
going to
is
answer
showing?
that?
Probably
Who's
scare
going to answer
somebody
that?
off. That's somebody would scare somebody in the beginning.
No,
I'd
no,
probably scare somebody.
Good.
The worst
Then you
thing.
save yourself the time, because if you're going to bump into somebody that's looked in the mirror, like, because if I guarantee if I ask you that, you will say, what you
I know
just
the
told me.
answers. I know the answers. Yeah.
I had to look at myself. I looked in the mirror. I saw some things that I didn't know and I didn't realize. You should be looking for that type of conversation. And if someone gets scared or they can't answer, here goes your big red flag that this person has not tried to do any work to grow.
I think at the very, very beginning, I try to avoid the
Yeah.
first conversation feeling like an interview. I just avoid that in the very beginning. That comes a little bit later once I realize
It's the
someone,
best you can do
literally.
somebody. I mean,
but
why?
not in the very beginning, not the first or second date.
So
Yeah, because sometimes it's a little intrusive.
it is, and
It's almost just
too heavy in the beginning.
Yeah, it's too much too early, right? So it's almost like, there's levels of getting to know a person, and then when you unlock another, cave, then when you're in there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then it's open and to be able to have that discussion, and there shouldn't be any offense. And if they're able to, appropriately answer the question, then you'll know that, okay, there's something here, but it's still something to work with.
Right.
Like, they're aware and they're working on it. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, as long as a person is consciously aware and they're on a path to making progress, you can't be mad at the person, especially if you value the person, you love them. You'll stick with them because you know that they want more for themselves, which means they want more for the both of you.
right. Let me say this though. The worst thing a man can the worst thing a man can say on a date is, so what kind of men do you like?
Yeah.
What the? Do you think I'm about to sit here and tell you what kind of man I like so you can pretend to be that for however long in the beginning? No. Show me your authentic self so I can exit expeditiously. if you are not that
That's a
person,
weird question.
like
Interview. At this stage, I think it is an interview. Like, look, we've done all the game. We've done all the like playing and the dragging.
oh, it's in
along.
interviews
Like, just
of
like if you want a
sorts.
job,
But
what
I'm
are
not
your
going to
strengths?
tell you what
are
I'm
your
looking
weaknesses?
for.
Oh,
Like,
right.
But that's why when
I
you
wouldn't
go on
take
job
what are your
interviews,
weaknesses?
sometimes there's more than one interview. Like, you put an application in, and then there's
most don't
one
get past
stage,
the
and
first
then there's-
interview. You know
No,
that. There's
I get-
always callbacks.
Yeah,
and
'cause-
then there's another.
That's why
Yeah, 'cause most
in
of-
3 days.
most-
I want to know
yeah.
where are you mentally? Where are you emotionally?
Yeah.
I need so you out here dating. You're in the streets. You want to hump? What's up?
Yeah.
Say that. Come correct. It's too. You don't have time. We don't have time to play the little
Yeah, I mean,
attractive.
because
Yeah.
all
Now let's get
employees,
deep. Let's just
all
Facts.
people that apply are not potential employees, though. Like,
right. So you just because there's just some humps.
I mean, sometimes.
Right.
Look,
So
But
just
but
say
there's a
that.
job
Hey,
for
we're
that
just
too,
here just
right?
to hump,
I know,
and we
but
can agree on that.
But I'm just saying I'm just saying for the long term of actual like relationship, right? Like once again, it's levels to that. So if it is hump level, then it doesn't matter. I don't care what kind of trauma you got.
I'm sorry.
that's a different kind of interview.
Yeah, I'm like
That's a whole different kind of interview.
In the past, if I'm looking
you're
for a
doing a
relationship, I'm not
gig.
getting to hump level without
Well, here's the-
getting. I'm
okay,
going deep first.
let me
'cause
say
I'm not
this.
humping unless I know some things.
When I meet somebody, I don't know
Yeah,
if
but-
I want to date this person or not. I don't want to know if I just want to be friends with this person. I don't know if I want to hook them up with one of my friends yet. So there's like unlocking these
Right.
caves. I want to see what their energy is like in person. Usually, like the app that I'm on, I see how tall they are, how old they are, what kind of work they're in, if they have children, if they want children, all these things. Okay, I can decide, is this person worthy of a text message, a phone call? Unlock. And it takes about 5 or 6 unlocks before I want to see where their healing process is. I might not even want them for me.
What kind of time line is
I
this?
mean, I think a few phone calls in, and before maybe then I want to meet them in person and see what their energy is like around me, and then I'll know then probably after the first date if the next conversation will step it up a notch. The first conversation we might just be homies. I might be like, this is someone I will never be with, but this is someone that's perfect for my friend, or this is someone that I would love to like hang out and shoot the shit with or whatever. But I'm not asking those questions in the very first interview.
Yeah, no.
No.
I mean, it's just because it's not.
I think it's too much pressure.
Yeah, it's not. It's just.
And it's too personal in the very beginning.
Yeah, it's too personal. It's just, in my opinion, just a little inappropriate because, like you said, I just don't know where or who this person is going to be to me yet. So I just act accordingly and take those steps
As they unlock the
accordingly.
caves.
Yeah, like
it's not asking what they have,
What
It's
they are
where
on
you're
their
at.
healing
like,
journey.
Where are you? Where are you
But-
at? Like just that question alone would a person who is aware would be
Right.
like, I've started to do some work. I've started to look at myself. It's not to tell you anything personal, not to tell you their trauma. It's just to tell you whether this is the type of person that you are saying that you want to be with. You want to hear these type of things because you're looking for a mature person. So somebody who's just acknowledging that they as a human being are on a journey of work. If they're confused by that question or thrown off, you don't have to get into anything personal. Just like, yeah, I've been in some relationships. I've taken some time to look at myself. Maybe I've been celibate. Maybe I've done some things like this just to show that this person is willing to put in work and acknowledge how they show up in relationships or friendships.
Right.
Even this, you can ask a friend
But-
that because you don't want a drama friend in your life either.
Right,
So you can be like, where are you? Because I don't have time for drama friends. And
But if they ask me the same question, I'm not going to want to answer that in the first date. So that's why I won't ask somebody something that I don't want to answer on the first date. It's kind of like just a mutual
Yeah,
respect
I probably
thing.
wouldn't answer it
wouldn't
either. I
answer
would
that
just kind of
question.
just be like, why you, like in my first mind would probably be like,
Like,
why
can
you
I
going
order
so
appetizer
hard,
first?
so deep, so early?
Early,
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then for me, I'm going to start questioning like, what is your intention with me? And I'm like, because I'm still trying to figure you out. Like I'm not
I
even
go
at
deep
that
early.
point.
Yeah, I'm not a deep diver that early.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not.
I'm cool with deep and all that,
Because-
but like too early, I'm like, nah, I didn't even get a chance to like put my toes in there, and I'm like, there's sharks in here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm cool. Like, I'd rather just sit around and look in the boat, at the water for a while. Like,
in the boat.
I just, like,
me
I'm
drive
cool.
the
Like,
boat.
I'm
I'm
not
trying to
diving in
drive.
there.
Yeah, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean everybody who
He's
flies
like,
isn't an employee though. It's like some things are gigs. It's like the one time.
I mean, there's
job
different
you out there,
jobs.
and then
There's-
there's
Right.
career employee potential. Like, but you gotta. It takes time to kind of figure that out. And sometimes you might have felt like, okay, you know what, this is a star employee, but they may have one or two bad things that are just fucking up the job every single time they show up, and you're like, nah, I gotta fire you. Like,
Exactly. That's why I'm like, that's
That's
but
facts.
Put in time and
But
waste
employers sometimes they just don't know that in the very
because
beginning.
the rehiring process, woo,
I mean, yeah.
and the resistance, like,
I mean, I'm fine single, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like, I'm having a good time.
yeah, that part.
I'm having a good time. It's
Yeah.
just, and the thing of it is for me, I mean, you mentioned dating apps,
Mhm.
and I'm not on any dating apps. And like I was saying, that makes me wary or what, but I'm such an extrovert that if I see someone I'm interested out, if I see a guy that's attractive to me in whatever way, I'm that girl that'll go speak to him. I'll approach him and go introduce myself. I've done that my whole life. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
So meeting people for me is not a problem. It's just, me deciding to
with the
leave
right-
my house
Right, for me,
to go do
I
that
don't-
because I'm it's funny because I'm an extrovert, but I love to be in the house. I love to be at
I'm
home.
an introvert and I don't meet people.
Oh,
I don't
see,
go anywhere.
I'm-
I go
I'm
to
the
dinner And
opposite.
I go home. I don't go out. So for me, meeting people, I go to a private gym. It's not a public gym. So the chances of meeting someone are like 10%. So
Oh,
the app,
I
I'm
talk to
meeting
people
way more
everywhere I
people,
go.
but I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I'm 50-50. I like being at home, but when I'm out and about,
out.
I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like hey, hi.
you prefer to be single. You prefer to be single.
No, I don't prefer to be single. I would much rather be in a relationship.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Should
But
we-
I'm not going to be in a bullshit relationship just for the sake of it.